The debate about the low blow aside, the next biggest point of discussion in the Usyk Dubois fight was whether Daniel Dubois quit again. We all know he quit against Joe Joyce, and I'm not blaming him. I'm not attacking him for quitting against Joe Joyce. He apparently had a fractured eye socket. I'm sure it's a terrible injury to have to sustain, but there are other fighters who continue with those types of injuries. There are other fighters with a next level of bravery that Daniel Dubois doesn't have. It is what it is. The question is, did he also quit in the Alexander Usyk fight? Some people think he just mistimed the count, but other people, in fact, most people seem to think, no, he did quit again. Now, we've heard Tony Bellew say that Daniel Dubois quit, and he was warning people to watch out for it before the fight, that Dubois, since he quit against Joyce, he can do it again. Another fighter to come out and accuse Daniel Dubois of quitting is Zheli Zhang. He said, quote, Dubois basically quit. I think Dubois needs to work on his heart. And most crucially, we've now had Daniel Dubois' own promoter basically insinuating that Daniel Dubois quit. That's right. Frank Warren has come out and said the following, quote, he went down from 2 shots that no one had expected and which I would have liked to see him get up from. Well, he did get up from one, and the second one, I would have liked to see him get up from. What happened in that round changed the whole dynamic of the fight. And the bottom line is, if you want to be the best, you've got to want to grit your teeth, and you've got to look at videos of Tyson Fury on the floor and what he did to get up and back into the fight, because that's what you've got to do, unquote. When your own promoter is saying stuff like that, you've really got to take heed, because your promoter is there to try and make you look good. But it's like your actions forced his hand. Now, my take on Daniel Dubois, as I said in a previous video, I know some people found it funny. I was laughing when I said it. But in all seriousness, Dubois to me seems like a bit of an empty vessel. Like he doesn't have much of an internal world. His confidence, I think, comes from Don Charles and Frank Warren and the people around him. It isn't self-generated confidence. I said going into the fight that Don Charles and Frank Warren had put a battery in his back, that he was basically like a sock puppet for those two guys. And they were animating him using their own spirit and their own confidence. But that only goes but so far, because once Daniel Dubois started shipping punishment, once Usyk started putting the pressure on, it doesn't matter what people outside the ring have told you, in training camp have told you, you have to resort to what's inside you already. And with Daniel Dubois, I don't think there's much there. I don't think he has a real strong spirit, a real strong character of his own. That boxing ring is the loneliest place in the world. When things get tough in that boxing ring, your trainer and your promoter can't get in the ring and fight for you. So moving forward, I've got serious doubts about Daniel Dubois. The fight with Joyce, you can say, oh, he was young and maybe we can give him the benefit of the doubt, but of course we're always a little bit concerned. When a fighter quits once, it usually does signify that they can quit again, but there are exceptions. I mean, Larry Holmes was heavily criticized in the amateurs for quitting, but in the pros, he turned out to be one of the bravest heavyweights you'll ever see. I think Costamato said words to the effect of, Holmes is the only quitter he's ever seen who went on to become incredibly brave. But actually, Evander Holyfield, I remember him talking about an amateur fight he had when he was, I guess, a teenager, and the guy he was fighting had a mustache. And so Holyfield felt like he was fighting a man. And the guy hit him, and Holyfield basically said that he fell over and stayed down because he was so scared of this guy. He basically quit. But later on in his amateur career, he showed incredible bravery. And of course, during his professional career, incredible bravery. Well, another example I forgot to mention was Vitaly Klitschko. He quit against Chris Bird, but went on to show tremendous heart against Lennox Lewis. So there are some instances where a guy goes from being a quitter and redeems himself. It's not the norm, but it happens occasionally. So I guess we gave Daniel Dubois, or at least some people gave Daniel Dubois, the benefit of the doubt. Let's see if next time he shows a bit more bottle, but he didn't. Second time he's done it now. My question for you guys is he now a write-off in your eyes because of the fact he's quit twice? Is he always going to do this every time the going gets tough? We've spoken about Usyk's weakness to the body. What about Daniel Dubois' weakness? His heart. And it's an interesting thing because early in the fight against Usyk, Dubois appeared very confident. In the run-up to the fight, he appeared very confident. There'd been some talk that maybe he'd freeze, but that didn't happen at all. We've yet to see Dubois freeze, actually. He's one of these guys that will show up for a few rounds, but once it starts getting tough, checks out. Eric Molina used to be like that. Well, I'm sure he still is like that, but you guys may remember when he fought Deontay Wilder, he gave Wilder lots of trouble. That was Wilder's first defense of his WBC heavyweight title. But once Wilder's shot started landing, Molina checked out, and he's been consistently like that over the years, Eric Molina. One of the more recent examples was against Fabio Julio Wardley, right? Was giving it a good go the first few rounds. As soon as he got hit with anything resembling a clean shot, he went down and he stayed down. And for my money, he could have easily got up from that shot. And this is the danger for Daniel Dubois at this point, that he could end up being an opponent rather than the main attraction. Obviously, that was the case against Usyk, but I just mean the trajectory of his career in general. If you're going to be the main attraction, you got to show more grit than that. You have to. People aren't going to want to pay to watch you otherwise. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.